Howdy ho! Well, today's topic is HTML emails responsiveness. And responsiveness only means like it responds to the width of the browser or the device. Say, like if it's on a phone or a narrow screen, it should look different. And we do that usually with media queries. And okay, I'm going to talk about the limitations of responsiveness with HTML emails. Okay, media queries, they like say if the screen is this wide, then display this CSS, basically. Okay, so you know what? Media queries work in a lot of instances, like here. Like you can make this a one column layout depending on the width of the screen. Like say you're looking at this on your computer and you want it to be two columns, great. But if you're looking at it on your iPhone or something like that, you might want it to be one column. So let's say squeeze this in and see what it looks like. That's beautiful. You look at it on your iPhone and it's just like that. Instead of looking like that. That's perfect. They're using a media query to accomplish that. Like, you know, saying that if the screen is this width, do this. If the screen is this width, do that. And that works as long as both columns are of equal width. Now, if the columns are of unequal width, when we try to use that media query, look what happens. Okay, looks great like that. Say they wanted a sidebar over here like that, but then you squeeze it in, and it works. Oh, it works because we're using the media query and we're looking at it in Google Chrome. That's a problem. Yeah, it worked because we're using a media query. Right. Now the problem with that is that Gmail and Outlook. See, a media query has to be in the header section. It can't be in the body section. Or actually, if it even is in the body section, it's going to get stripped out. A media query is always going to get anything style like this, or JavaScript code, or anything you try to plop into an email. It's going to get stripped out by Gmail and Outlook. They do not want that because they don't want you putting sneaky code in your emails, and then people open it up and it does something unexpected. It's always going to strip out your crap, your coding, like your, unless it's an inline style, meaning like this. Say you want this table thing, this table data to have some styles to it. You put it inline right here within that, within the tag itself. That's inline. If it's not an inline style, it's going to get stripped out. And so this will not work in Gmail because Gmail is always going to strip out your media queries. All right. Okay, so what if you try to do it without a media query? Well, that's possible too. Let's see. No media queries. Let's try this one out. Got a preview in browser, Google Chrome. Look at, well, that works with no media queries. Pops right there, just like you see. If you look at it on your computer, it looks like that. But if you look at it on your iPhone, it looks like that. Beautiful. But that only works as long as the two columns are of equal width. If see that's when they're of equal width. This is when they're of unequal width. And then you try to use that no media query formula with two columns of unequal width. And does it work? No, it no longer works. So this only works when you don't have media queries. It only works if the columns are of equal width. If you do have media queries, it only works as long as you're not looking at it in Google Chrome or Outlook. In Google Chrome or Outlook, media queries will not work. Now, a lot of people say there's ways to get around it, like a hybrid method of, part media query and part, inline styles. And I've tried those, and they really do not work. There are limitations. Those don't work either. Now, take this layout a client gave me, for example. They wanted this to look at this. They wanted this to display a different map. Let me take a look here. My code, make sure. Oh yeah, everything's beautiful. They wanted to display a different map. This is the map section right here. Based on the width, based on what device the person is looking at it on. Okay, let's take a look at this here. Say I'm going to preview it in the browser. see what I mean even faster. Okay. Ah, come on, those silly images. All right, well, images don't matter. Um, See right here, this is the map down here. They want the map to be down here. They always want the map to be beneath the information section. So if it's squeezed in like this, then the map pops up here beneath the information section like it's supposed to. But if it's like this, then the map is down here. You know, how I accomplish that is by having that map twice on the page in the code. See, that map is right here. With a class of map for desktop. But that same map is also right here. It's also another time in the code. Let me find it. Map. That same map is also right here with the class of map for mobile. Now, here's the thingy. When the screen is a certain width, map for mobile gets hidden, and then it shows map for desktop. And that's great. But when the screen is narrow, we want to display the map for mobile and hide the map for desktop. That's how this works. See, right now we're looking at the map, this big wide map, this 2-column map for the desktop. And that's great because it looks like that on the desktop. Great. But when we get down to a mobile device like phone, we want to change where the map is located. We want to change the location of the map. Because okay, the elements here are 1, 2, 3. But we don't want this to be number 3. We always want the map to come beneath the introductory section. So we want to change the order of things by hiding that map down there and make this 1, 2. We don't want this to be 3 anymore. We want it to be 2 because we always want it beneath the information section. So we're hiding map number 3, the map for desktop, and displaying map number 2, the map for mobile. But something like that can only be accomplished through a media query. You know, hiding and displaying things based on the width. There's no way you can accomplish that with inline styles. You cannot put a media query inline. It will never happen. Okay, now, here's a nice groovy tool that I discovered called Litmus, where you can test your emails out, in all the browsers in the world and all the email clients in the world all at once. That's terribly exciting. All right, now look. See, here's that one where that one that we were looking at. Okay, now here's the problem. See, it looks all groovy when you look at it on the iPhone 6. But this is how it looks when you look at it in Google Chrome, and this is how it looks when you look at it in certain versions of Outlook. Some Outlooks are okay, some Outlooks are not so okay. So we're gonna take a look at it on various devices. My only problem with Litmus is sometimes it takes a second to pop up your. Okay, we're looking at this in what here? We're looking at this in Google Chrome. And okay, the biggest problem that I see right now is displaying the map twice. It's displaying the map for mobile and it's displaying the map for desktop because it cannot see a media query. So it's just going to display them both. It doesn't know to hide one because the code says hide one. First, it doesn't understand media queries, and it doesn't understand a lot. I mean, because look at these size of these images, everything looks off in Outlook. So anytime you try to do something fancy, remember Outlook is not going to interpret anything fancy. So here, the thing to do about that is, I did another test. I'm not going to look at the other test right now. The thing to do about that is about Outlook's issue of not being able to understand this. Outlook has this conditional code that you can put inside of an HTML email that says if you're using Microsoft Outlook, then you can just display a stationary layout just for Outlook to display. Isn't that nice? It's groovy. All right, and then the rest of the email clients and browsers you can put within this code down here. If you're not using Microsoft Outlook, or if you are using Microsoft Outlook, display this. If you're not using Microsoft Outlook, display that. So that helps solve the problem for Microsoft Outlook that we see right here. See, Outlook, his terrible problem that we see right here, we can solve all that by displaying a stationary email using this code to solve all that. But what are we going to do to solve the Gmail problem? Gmail doesn't have a code like that we can use. So basically, there you have to respect the fact there will be no media queries in Gmail, and if there's something that can only be done with a media query, such as changing the position of a section like this, you know, changing a position, like I put it in the code twice, one for mobile right here, one map for mobile right there, and then one map for desktop right here, and using a media query to say which one is displayed based on the width of the screen. Gmail, no matter what, it's just going to display both of them. And so will Outlook, many versions of Outlook. So, so basically, there's no way to get around that for Gmail. You can get around it for Outlook by using this, you know, and just display a stationary layout if you use an Outlook. But for Gmail, there's no way to get around that. So basically what I'm saying here is if there's something that you can only do with a media query, then you probably shouldn't do it because Gmail is not going to respect your media query no matter what. And that's my lesson that I learned after many, many hours of trying to get this right with one particular client. And, you know, I tried everything possible. I mean, there's these hybrid methods and everything, but bottom line Gmail is never going to respect a media query, and some things can only be done with media queries. So there are limitations to what you can do with a responsive HTML email. And that's Wonder Grog. We now return you to your regularly scheduled program.